Okay, thanks, Phil. Yeah, I have done this a few times. Actually, I think it's a ploy by Bob to make sure that I stay at each session and I know what's going on. All right, so capture this the whole day in 10 minutes. Let's go. So on the Sungivity presented by Danny Kennedy, the takeout I got was the data on renewable is quite impressive. It gives you an insight to what inevitably will be our future. As I said, we went to a convention in Amsterdam, which was all about solar photovoltaic cells. And in Germany, they have said that there's going to be 60% renewables by 2017. So that's pretty impressive. Okay, and as I said yesterday as well in the industry forum, energy storage battery is the next big step change for Australia, and that's coming. On the competency-based progression panel, what my main thing that I took out of it was that the key is the upfront screening of apprentices at the point that the apprentice is recruited, to ensure that the increased completion rate. From Mary Ferronay, the correct pronunciation, from Holmesglen. Look, I was a bit saddened to think that they see they're losing ground in the vet sector. Loss of 35% of funding, expectation that loss of funding to produce an 80% return back to the government. Now, how can you provide the professional development and restructuring the facilities support competency-based progression? Very difficult. But the public provider is extremely important to our industry sector to implement the national training packages. So I'm sure that for a partnership between the ISCs and the public vet providers, and for all providers, we will see through this. From David Cox from Peer, look, I really take my hat off that the leadership that was shown, really because they're breaking that cast iron mould of from traditional lockstep training regimes to a much more flexible and accessible training regime. On the topic of increased female participation by Kate Coates, the takeout I saw for that was the perception of the trade based on outdated information. We have a responsibility to change this misinformation that's out there in the community at large. Skills-based progression model can be used to ensure equitable remuneration progression. On the future of training by Dr. Stuart Johnson, it's pleasing to hear the confirmation that ENA supports the IC and the role that they have to support their members. Slightly disappointing, though, is that not all the jurisdictions support the ESI passport, considering all the network CEOs signed off on that MOU. Last but not least, Dr. Glenn Platt's rap. I won't do a rap on a rap, but I'm glad that DC modules is still within our curriculum. And the other thing I mentioned yesterday was I learned a new word yesterday, and that was prosumers. I actually went onto Wikipedia to find out how that word came about. And it's actually a contracting of two words, producer and consumer, to make the word prosumer. Okay, leaving it at that, I want to thank all the sponsors, specifically for today's sponsorship for our morning teas, our lunch, and the upcoming afternoon tea. That's enough from me. Thank you very much for listening.